While Fuller House may be a family show, the Fullest House podcast is not. Listener discretion is advised. Alright, welcome everybody to another episode of the Fullest House podcast where everything is coming up for Nando. I'm Zach Horowitz.
I'm Mark Greene.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
J
Money!
The day of reckoning has finally come.
He's here!
It's here.
It's here.
I'm so happy.
Oh,
We have been waiting for this day since we first had the idea for the podcast.
I'd given up hope. I thought it was going to be later. I thought it was going to be like the end of the season.
It came so much later than I thought it was going to. I thought it came up earlier.
I started to think we imagined it.
I did too. I also started to think we imagined it, and then it happened like the same episode that I thought of it.
For everyone at home, we are talking about the first utterance of Jackson's glorious nickname.
His self-appointed nickname.
Self-appointed J Money.
We didn't expect it.
We really didn't. So for some context here, we've seen most of the series before, but it was a while ago when we watched the first season, and when Jackson started calling himself J Money, we only referred to him as J Money from that point on, and that's what we're gonna do in the podcast as well.
I feel like actually at first we were always on board with J Money, because I remember I sort of resisted it at first, and then he started calling himself another name that we shall not refer to in season 2, and it didn't work as well, and we started to appreciate J Money even more.
Actually, I'm pretty sure what happened was we didn't quite notice the sad boy appeal of Jackson until like he stopped calling himself J Money, and that's when we started calling him J Money. Was when the show stopped calling him J Money.
You're right, that is how it happened. Without J Money, he was so empty inside.
Exactly.
But he said it for the first time this episode, and it was so glorious.
He said it for the first time this episode. It was so wonderful, so great. We heard an angelic choir off in the distance, or at least I did. I don't know about you guys.
I should tell you guys, in my notes, I've been referring to him as J Money the entire time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, that's the only way to refer to him.
Almost everybody, I just write their first initial. I legitimately, every time I write J and then a $sign.
J Money.
J Money.
He's J Money. And I don't know if it ended up in the final cut, but there was one episode where I accidentally prematurely referred to him as J Money.
I remember
and we
this.
stopped and I retook the line.
I had to stop you right there, and I had to just like go along with the bit like, Mark, who's J Money? I don't know who that is.
Because he was reborn anew today. He is no longer Jackson.
And now we finally, it was all a ruse for this wonderful, wonderful moment that we have right now, dear viewer. So anyways, on to the actual episode itself.
Yeah, that was just so big we had to talk about it right away.
Yeah, no, this is a big moment. Not just for the show itself, but for the podcast. So anyways, the episode itself.
Aunt Becky's here!
Yeah!
Yes, Aunt Becky is here.
And you, Zach, were killing it with the Aunt Becky jokes.
It's just kind of like become a thing that happened ever since the news came out, where whenever Aunt Becky appears on screen, I will take whatever opportunity I get to make a joke about Lori Loughlin.
No, I know, but here's the thing. Like, I've made Lori Loughlin jokes before, but Zach, for whatever reason, you make them with the most frequency and the most quality I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know why. You just hit it out of the park with Lori Loughlin jokes.
Exactly. Like, I'm not all that funny with anything else, but like specifically with Lori Loughlin jokes, I'm a hit.
I mean, let's break down what you said. Just like she picks up the baby, and instantly you say, "Ooh, who's my little rower?" And we just burst out laughing.
Yeah, she was picking up Tommy, and she's got, Aunt Becky's got baby fever, and she's like, "Oh, who's my little baby?" And I go, "Oh, who's my little future USC rower?" And everyone started losing it.
It's so good. I remember when we first came back to the show after the news about Lori Loughlin broke. You had an Aunt Becky joke that I still remember as being the best one that I've ever heard. and I don't remember what the joke was.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't remember what the joke specifically was.
It kills me.
When we get to that episode, it'll probably come back to me.
Do you remember, Mark?
I don't remember, and it kills me. Every single time
know.
Lori Loughlin comes up, I want you to know, I tell people, oh, my friend had the best joke, and I forget what it is.
That's what a way to be remembered as the guy who made the good Lori Loughlin joke, but that was really good, but not good enough to remember exactly what it was.
Exactly. But we should say Aunt Becky in this episode is very much unfulfilled. We find out Aunt Becky is an unfulfilled housewife. She is unhappy.
You could say that.
She is a very sad girl here in this episode.
Yes.
Oh my god. She's in baby fever mode.
The main plot of this episode is that a secret admirer has sent a bunch of roses to the Fuller household. I get it, the Fuller house. But the tag is missing, so we don't know.
No,
who
Zach,
sent
I think
them
you should
or
pause.
who
Actually,
they're for.
Zach. I didn't get it. Can you explain that joke to me?
So DJ, who in the original Full House was DJ Tanner, she met Tommy Fuller.
Yes. Wait, her baby?
No, the other Tommy Fuller.
Okay.
And she married, and she took the last name Fuller, so now she's DJ Fuller.
Yes.
And the show is called Fuller House because the original was called Full House, and you got Full, and then you got Fuller, and then you got Fullest, which is this podcast. We love that shameless self-promotion of the podcast on the podcast.
Oh, it makes so much sense now.
Yeah, I'm glad that I could clear it up for you guys.
Because she has a lot of stuff in the house, so it's Fuller, right? That's what it is?
Well, in this episode, it certainly is.
Oh, it is definitely Fuller in this episode, yes, just the roses.
Because there's a
bunch of roses.
It's a Fuller house now.
Anyway, I'm getting tired of this bit, so let's...
Yeah, it's from an undisclosed secret admirer, and DJ Steph and Kimmy all think it's for them. They're trying to figure out who sent them the roses, and Aunt Becky is way too invested in this roses thing.
Well, Becky in this episode is here for drama. She is also super invested in what's going on with the kids.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very invested in
She's just running around the house, either doting on Tommy or asking people about their drama the entire time. And she very much implies that she treats it like an Agatha Christie novel mystery where she's always asking about the suspects all the time.
I do also want to mention, we did get a text from Tyler, and this is something that more of our more keen, eagle-eyed viewers / followers on social media might understand. But if you check our following, like who we follow on Twitter and Instagram, you'll notice it's mostly us, the show, Juan Pablo Di Pace, because we love him, and the USC women's rowing team.
Yes.
Yep.
And Tyler, he just sent a text because I guess he wanted us to mention that. But yeah.
I want to say that was like one of the first things we did on social media. Was it Tyler who did that? Who followed the USC rowing team?
I think it was someone followed USC, and then Tyler specifically changed it to following the USC women's rowing team.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there's two things that Aunt Becky is very invested in this episode, and that is the roses drama and Tommy the baby.
Yeah, and it's all very specifically because she is unfulfilled by Uncle Jesse.
Yes.
Aww.
We can just go through one by one and just see like who the top suspects were. So let's start off with DJ. She starts off thinking, oh, maybe it was Steve who sent the roses. So Becky, not even DJ, Becky calls Steve for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it is revealed that Steve did not send the roses, but he gives some very good unsolicited podiatry advice.
Yeah.
That they've all heard him say before. It's very good.
Yeah.
Which is... By the way, if you haven't heard Steve's podiatry advice, wear flip-flops in the shower to avoid toe fungus.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Podiatry Advice from the Fullest House podcast.
This is our new segment, Podiatry Talk.
Our new segment, Podiatry Talk. Always wear flip-flops in the shower to prevent foot fungus.
We workshopped the title a little. We were going to call it Feet Talk, but we thought that might be a little
It gave
iffy.
off the wrong idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
Podiatry
I mean, like,
Talk.
it's not to say that we're not interested in feet.
I mean, hey, tweet at us, get on Facebook, tell us.
Send us pictures of
do
your
you
feet.
think feet...
Send us pictures of your feet.
Hey fans, if you send us pictures of your feet, maybe we'll read your name out in the podcast in our new segment, Feet talk. It's different than podiatry talk. These are two new segments completely devoted to feet.
Yes.
We're like Dan Schneider.
It is.
It's not weird. It's for a podcast. Anyways.
And Steve, we don't see the person he's working on, but we do see their foot sticking out, and it's very, very still.
Yeah.
And the room is very, very just like cold, and it looks like he's performing an autopsy on a foot.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the foot, I guess it was probably a fake foot, but it looks like it's yellow or it doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a human foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it looks like it looks like a corpse.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on from Steve. Once DJ finds out that it's not Steve, she thinks, "Oh, maybe it's Matt," because we had that whole makeout session in the last episode.
They did some smooches.
They did some smooching. So she goes up to Matt, and Matt's interested in DJ. He wants to take her out on a date. And he says he sent her flowers, and DJ assumes it's all the roses. So she makes up an excuse on the spot to leave.
Yeah. Her crown fell out, and she has to go to the dentist. And that's why she can't go on a date.
But she can't do it during the day. She has to do it at night at a night dentist.
Yes.
Exactly.
With her dentist, Dr. Medicine.
Dr. Medicine.
I have two pitches for our spin-off this episode.
Okay.
Which I think this came up organically. A spin-off each episode wasn't a planned bit, but they come up enough that I feel like we just do them every episode. I feel like we should codify it.
It's our new bit for house spin-offs.
We don't have to do it every time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be every time. It's just whenever we think of one.
Right. But I thought and of course there's still people solving crimes. Because Steve doing an autopsy on a foot really made me think, I want a show where Steve solves foot-related crimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'd watch it.
And 2, night dentist.
Night dentist. It's a medical drama about a night dentist.
Oh, I was thinking more like a dentist-themed superhero.
Me
along
too.
the lines of Batman.
Yeah.
Oh.
By day, Matt Harmon is an ordinary veterinarian. But at night, he becomes night dentist.
Well, technically, Matt Harmon is not one of the 12 registered night dentists in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, that's why it's a great secret identity.
Oh, you're right.
If you could just guess that he was the night dentist, his disguise, presumably a mask that looks like a tooth, wouldn't be very good, would it? Use your fucking brain, Zach.
I'm sorry, Mark. I should have used my brain more.
No, it's okay. I'm just very passionate about night dentists.
You're very passionate about this, and we love to see it.
He uses dentist-themed gadgets to fight crime.
Like, look, if there are any network executives out there listening to the podcast, whether you be from a regular network or say Netflix or something like that, we've got a bunch of pitches for you. Just like, your people can call our people. We'll get in contact.
Or just listen to the podcast, because we have at least 9 pitches by now.
We have a lot of pitches.
We have so much material.
But, so DJ comes to the conclusion that she thinks Matt sent her the roses. Yeah. And that's DJ's whole thing.
Yeah, it creeps her out, because
it's
coming on too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Because, she thinks he's coming on too strong.
Oh, which that brings us to the theme of the episode, the friend zone.
The friend zone, that's right. That totally real thing.
Twilight Zone theme song.
That real thing that exists.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, Jackson is
Who's Jackson?
All right, J Money.
Yeah, Harrison.
That's right.
Who is Jackson?
Well, the reason I called him Jackson was because this happens before the J Money rebirth.
Okay.
But so Jackson,
you get a
soon
pass
to be
for
known
now.
as J Money, is called Dude by Lola, and this convinces everyone that he is in the friend zone, and he wants to impress her and ask her out by giving her a bunch of red M&Ms
because they're her favorite.
Yeah, and it's like a similar gesture to the roses, but less creepy, I guess. But we have a lot of comedic misunderstandings this episode, and Max, he runs into their room and he sees the M&Ms with a little, "Do you want to hang out with me checkbox yes or no on it. And Max is like, fuck, a day with J Money, hell yeah. And so he just digs into those M&Ms.
A day with J Money and a bunch of red M&Ms.
Yeah, 1,000 red M&Ms, or 999 red M&Ms and one Skittle.
And one red Skittle, because he
Yeah.
could not find 1,000 red M&Ms.
Mm-hmm. So, Jax, what do you guys think of Lola? I don't know.
I feel like there hasn't been enough of her in this show yet.
There hasn't been anything, right? Like, it's just, she's just...
No, there's not a lot of her in the show yet, but she's
Yeah. She does better
she's
later
cool.
on, right? Yeah.
she's
She's a cool dude.
she's a cool dude.
Yeah, she's a cool
Which
dude.
that's the first sign. Ramona points out Lola calls J Money dude,
Dude.
which means that she's gonna friend zone him.
The dreaded friend zone.
We were talking about the whole friend zone thing earlier, and Mark actually came up with a term for what it's like to get out of the friend zone, because they say
Oh,
it's
yes.
impossible, but then Mark immediately chimed in with, I'm going to let you take this one.
Well, it's not impossible because Ron Weasley got out of the friend zone. Ron Stoppable got out of the friend zone. Tyler pointed out that you could argue Ron Burgundy got out of the friend zone. So I think getting out of the friend zone should be called pulling a Ron.
Pulling a Ron, you're right. There's so many Rons.
From now on, we're referring to coming out of the friend zone as pulling a Ron.
I'm sure it's going to come up all the time.
Yes. Another wonderful inside joke from the podcast. Another great bit.
And now it's an inside joke with you guys, too.
Yep. Just for our friendship.
When I said you guys, I meant the listeners, Zach.
I wanted to feel included.
You are included, Zach. It's you, it's us, and the listeners. You said it was an inside joke, and I was just like, well, technically we're putting it out to the world. So it's an inside joke with us and the listeners, too. It's very wholesome. I wasn't not including you. I was including more people.
Am I still included?
Yes, you're still included.
Yeah.
I said that like 3 times, Zach.
I'm included.
God.
Anyways, let's move on to Kimmy Gibbler's little side story,
Yeah.
because
that's
she
right.
assumes that the roses are for her, and who could have sent Kimmy roses other than our sweet sad boy Fernando.
Tyler, it doesn't have to be forever, but that time after Zach says Fernando, could you edit in like an audience cheering, please, for me?
Yeah, please do that.
Yes, every time Fernando shows up, we need an audience, a full house style audience cheer.
I don't mean to give you more work.
That's what we were saying, that when he like first showed up this episode, we were like, we really need like an audience cheering sound effect to play whenever Fernando enters for the first time, because they do it for John Stamos, they do it for Bob Saget, they do it for Dave Coulier. Why not for our boy Juan Pablo Di Pace?
Right.
He never gets that respect.
I think I read somewhere that when filming Seinfeld, they had to tell the audiences not to react because when Kramer entered the room, they'd cheer for too long and it would delay filming.
Oh wow.
I need that for Fernando. And
Yeah.
so, Tyler, I'm begging you, even just this episode, please make my dreams come true. Make all our dreams come true. Look into your hearts. Look into your heart, Tyler.
You
Please.
blessed soul. Please.
I don't know. You can edit all of that out if you want, but we have fun here.
We have fun here. So she talks to Fernando, and Fernando sees the roses, and he's like, oh, what are all these roses? And Kimmy just kind of assumes that Fernando sent them. And Fernando, being the wonderful, wonderful man he is, just kind of goes with it.
Our best boy. Well, she says someone sent all these roses. I think it's you. And he says, like, is there a note? And she says, no, we can't find the note. And he says, yes, they are from me.
I love how everything in this episode we wanted to happen happened.
Yes.
First, the J Money, or I guess that was second J Money, but the first Fernando accepting the credit for sending the roses, even though he's clearly lying. It's just so
Yeah.
good. And he's just so innocent and sad.
So good.
Like, add it to the list of reasons why we love Fernando. Like, it's a big list.
Well, it's actually not a super long list because it's just a post-it that says everything.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Well, technically it says everything and then accepting the credit for the roses.
Yeah, there's 2 bullets. Number 1 is everything, and number 2 is accepting the credit for the roses.
Get you someone who looks at you like we look at Fernando.
Oh god.
Oh man.
That's the dream, right? You just want someone who looks at you the same way we look at Fernando.
Yeah, so I feel like overall, even though it's Fernando, Kimmy's little side plot for like who she thinks sent her the roses probably has the least amount of substance in it overall.
Yeah.
Least amount of time dedicated to it, but
Yeah.
the best moments of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the inner turmoil of Juan Pablo Di Pace on camera are so good. Anytime he shows up and he's like, "Oh, what do I do? Will they tell the truth?"
And then moving on to Stephanie, who does not have any love interest in the series at this point. So she calls up all of her former lovers who we don't know.
Well, not former lovers, because she calls up one of them and he says, "No, I didn't send you these roses." And she says, "Oh, so it must have been one of the other guys." And then she says, "Oh, there aren't other guys," which means that she is currently dating a bunch of people.
Okay. Never mind. I guess I missed that. So she calls a bunch of guys, and turns out it's none of them. And then she thinks, oh, wait, what if it's from my husband, Harry Takayama? And there's a whole bunch of, like, innuendos here where she, like, it refers to an episode from Full House. Remember Full House?
Yeah.
I do remember Full House, but I
I
remember it
do.
specifically because it doesn't just refer to it. They finally go all the way and just play a clip from Full House.
Yeah.
Wait, is this the first time they've done that?
No, they did it in the first episode.
Did they fly? Oh, they showed a side-by-side.
Oh, they
Yeah.
did the side-by-side. You're right.
They did a side-by-side, but this episode, there's legitimately a flashback, and they just play a clip from Full House.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow, it really is the first time they've done that. Oh my god.
When Stephanie and Larry Takayama get married.
Yay.
And by the way,
Uh-huh.
I said it during that episode, but I don't think the child who married them was an ordained minister.
Probably not. You'd have to check his records.
Yeah, we're gonna need a... The investigation is still ongoing.
He did have a white collar.
That's true. And if you do have a white collar, that means you can marry people. I think that is
Yes.
Of course. It's in the Bible.
Yeah, so I guess by, like, that logic, then this child is technically an ordained minister.
I liked it's in the Bible. I liked it.
Because, yes, thanks
Thank you.
to the Bible, as stated in the Holy Scripture. So she keeps saying that, like, oh, Harry just keeps making all these grand gestures to prove his love for me because we're married and, you know, he...
Well, it's because he wants her to start dating him again.
Yes.
Every few years he does something extreme. Which I'm glad they explained, because we were legitimately going, why did she just assume that, like, her best friend from when she was 6 years old sent her a ton of flowers?
Yeah, but they do go into
They
depth
do
about it.
explain it. Yeah.
And so later this comes to a head when all 3 of them are invited over to the house by Aunt Becky, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why all 3 of them come to the house at the same time?
No, yeah, it actually is because Aunt Becky invites them all. I don't know about Fernando, but...
Well, Steph was inviting Harry Takayama because she wanted to actually get together with him because she thought, well, he cares about me, he's stable.
Yeah.
I'll just do it. I think Matt came in because he went around and checked
Right,
with all
okay.
12 night dentists.
Yes.
And DJ was at none of them. Which, by the way, DJ was concerned that he was coming on too strong. I feel like checking with all 12 night I feel like, one, finding out the names of all 12 night dentists in San Francisco, and then 2, going and checking with all 12 night dentists in San Francisco if the woman who you asked on the date was really busy or not, is coming on pretty strong.
Yeah. And then Fernando is Fernando.
And now that I think about it, a little bad. Like, just trust her, dude.
A little creepy.
Yeah.
A little creepy. You weren't at the night dentist.
I checked.
Oh my god.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am the night dentist.
He's the hero that San Francisco deserves, not the one it
but not the one they need. So we've established Harry comes over because Stephanie invites him. Matt comes over because he's a crazy stalker. And Fernando comes because he's Fernando.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really the best explanation, is that Fernando is here because he's Fernando.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I love in this scene, Becky, who's super invested in their drama. I do want to tell you guys, I wrote in my notes, I first wrote, Aunt Becky is baby crazy. And then I wrote, Aunt Becky is an unfulfilled housewife.
Yes.
And then I just, as it kept going, I wrote, Aunt Becky hates her life.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But she conducts the interrogation, which she's very invested in. Immediately Matt says, no, I didn't send the flowers. DJ's like, but you said you sent flowers. And he says, yeah, 2 sunflowers. You thought I did all this? What? She asks Harry Takayama, and Harry Takayama says, no, I did not send them. I'm getting married, and I was inviting Stephanie to my wedding.
Yeah.
I was really hoping, because he's like, he later asked, hey, Stephanie, can I ask you something? And I was really hoping he was just going to say, like, Stephanie, I will leave my wife for you. And he didn't, and I was very disappointed. I think he just asked, like, can you come to the wedding or something like that.
Yeah,
no, it was something.
Or well, he asked. She had already said she'd come to the wedding. He asked, chicken or fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, Aunt Becky asks Fernando, and Fernando says, like, is there a, did you find the note? And they say no, and he says, then yes, it appears I did send the flowers.
Which you pointed out is not a lie. He's only said it appears as if I'm the one who sent the note.
Yes.
I also do want to bring up, because I meant to bring this up earlier and I didn't. According to IMDb trivia, the actor who plays Harry Takayama in this episode is not the same actor who played Harry as a child in the original series, as shown in the flashback.
What?
Really?
It's a different guy. Oh, so they all look the same to you, Harrison, huh?
He was a child! But that's so funny, they didn't get the same guy.
Yeah, they didn't get the same actor. They just got a different guy. But, it's later revealed that Cosmo the dog is a hoarder who not only stole the invitation to Harry's wedding, but also the note for the flowers.
Yeah.
And Ramona's One Direction pillow. The greatest.
Yes.
And Ramona's One Direction pillow, yes.
But
we'll get into that
embarrassed
subplot
about.
later, dear viewer.
But Cosmo brings them the note, and the second they get the note, Fernando says, oh, I have to go fill the meter on my car. And immediately they say, oh, but the name's chewed off. And Fernando says, oh, well, it's 7. I can stay. Kimmy then says, oh, well, the number is on there. I'll call the florist and ask who sent them. And Fernando immediately breaks down and says, I can't tell this lie anymore.
I'm tired of believing a lie.
And he confesses. I know we just say a lot of the jokes that happen in the show. I don't always love doing it because I want people to go watch the show if they're interested in it. But I do want to appreciate good jokes. And oh man, did I love that whole scene. He plays it perfectly.
So
it's so well done.
It's
We
so
love Juan Pablo Di Pace.
I just love, well, I better be going. Oh, well, we can't tell who read it. Okay, then. Well, maybe I have some more time.
Let this also serve as our weekly reminder that Juan Pablo Di Pace, please come on our podcast.
Please come on the podcast.
Please come on our podcast.
We're begging you.
It would be so cool.
Oh, I do also want to mention, I have a couple more lines that I wanted to shout out. I know I just said the whole thing. But we mentioned it in our intro, but when Fernando arrives, he says, like, I'm so excited. I'm getting back together with Kimmy, and I just found a perfect parking spot. Everything is coming up, Fernando.
And we all started dying at that line.
I know. I was about to say that as a joke, and then he actually said it, and I was...
It's like I said.
I am so psyched J Money happened, but that's a long-term thing.
We were all so excited when J Money first happened. We had to stop watching the episode, and we had to like take a solid couple-minute break. So we were all just celebrating.
Yeah, but my point is, I thought that J Money was going to be the line of the episode, but no, everything's coming up. Fernando is undoubtedly the line of the episode. It's so good. I love it. And
it's
then
very, very good.
the other thing I wanted to shout out, we didn't really mention it in our watch through, but when DJ's at the vet clinic and Matt asks her on a date, DJ's finishing up with a dog, and she says, well, your documentation just came in. You're officially a legal beagle. And I liked that. I thought that was cute.
It was a cute line. So we get back to the episode, and it's revealed that Matt, Fernando, and Harry, none of them sent the roses, so who could have possibly sent them? Enter John Stamos.
That's me imitating a studio audience. By the way, anytime anybody in a show kisses and the studio audience says ooh, I always out loud go, ooh.
We love a good old-fashioned Stamos ex machina.
I hope that's not bad to listen to, Tyler.
We all love a good old-fashioned Stamos ex machina because it turns out he sent the roses to Aunt Becky. Why to that address? We don't know.
Exactly. Do they say at the beginning, like, Aunt Becky is staying with them for a while, and so he's like, I guess I'll send them to the house? It very much is like, why'd you send them there instead of to, I don't know, her house?
Yeah.
Her and yours? I don't know.
It's really weird. But yeah, Uncle Jesse sent the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess she's not as unfulfilled as we thought. The violin grows slightly smaller.
He says some very nice things about her, about waking up next to her and falling in love all over again. And it turns out Uncle Jesse is not a bad husband, apparently.
Yeah. He's really making up for his mistake back in episode 2. I believe we just left the voicemail on while he was complaining about Becky.
Ooh, what a callback.
What a callback.
He could still be in damage control.
Yeah. That's the only reason he's not a good husband. He'd still be bad otherwise. He's just apologizing.
Yeah. I do also want to mention, we're going to go subplot by subplot this episode, I guess, because there are some other subplots that we have not mentioned yet. Specifically the J Money subplot, which we kind of went over a little bit, and the subplot of Aunt Becky being very obsessed with the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the baby first. Because there was one scene where Aunt Becky puts on an entire fashion show for DJ with Tommy.
Yeah.
And it's like a bunch of it's like a montage basically, but then there's a lot of quick cuts, but it seems like the way they edit it together, it sounds like it's happening like one right after the other, and the baby's just very, very quickly changing.
Yeah, Tyler pointed out it's a montage, but it's not edited or shot like a montage. So it just seems like Aunt Becky is then bringing the baby slightly off screen and lifting him up with a new outfit on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we came up with a bunch of theories for how this could have been done.
Do we want to go through them?
Oh yeah, we can go over some of the theories.
Yes.
I mean, I have my personal favorite. So here's my theory, guys. I mentioned this in the run-through, but I'm going to mention this again so that the audience knows. So my theory is that in order to make this fashion show happen, Aunt Becky cloned Tommy a bunch of different times so that she could have a Tommy with each different outfit. Mm-hmm. So that way, not only does she have a very good fashion show, but like 15 years down the line, she's got an entire USC rowing team.
Hell yes.
You're back at it again with the sick Lori Loughlin joke.
I know, like... Lori Loughlin humor is like the only kind of humor that I'm good at. Just straight up just Lori Loughlin jokes.
We all have our talents.
It's my niche.
But I just wanted to point out that we have established that magic exists in the Fuller House universe.
Yes.
So it could just be magic, and Aunt Becky is a witch.
I like the clone idea better.
I like the clone idea better. I just wanted to point out the established canon.
That's true. That's a fair point as well. I think
another theory was that it's just a bunch of tearaway clothes and different hats.
Yes, that was another theory I brought up, is that it's a bunch of tearaway clothes.
She's just grabbing an outfit off a baby and chucking it over her shoulder.
She's like ripping clothes off a baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really like the one main scene in that little subplot. But we had to mention it.
And I also do want to say there's... At one point, she's dressed Tommy up like an astronaut, and she like flies him through the room. And it is by far the happiest we have ever seen this baby.
Yes,
who usually looks terrified.
Yeah, it's the happiest we've seen the baby. It's just Lori Loughlin's entire thing on the show is that she loves the baby more than literally anyone else.
Yep.
DJ points out, "Oh my God, you have a baby problem," and she says, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." And she's dying inside, and we love her so much for it.
Yep.
I'm sure Aunt Becky's baby problem will never come up again.
ever.
But yeah, let's get into the real star of the episode, and that is, of course, our boy, J Money.
J Money! I never say anything in that tone, but I say J Money in that tone all
I'm
the
so
time.
happy we can finally start referring to him as J Money now.
I've been holding parts of myself back.
Oh, I think we all have.
An era of repression has ended.
Yes, the day of reckoning has finally arrived. The words J Money have finally been uttered in the show.
You guys might have noticed at one point in the recording I just went on my phone for a bit. That is because I was totaling up the runtime of all the previous episodes. And then J Money is uttered 16 minutes and 40 seconds into this episode. As a whole, J Money appears 236 minutes and 40 seconds into the episode.
He did the math.
You did the math. That's like what, over like 3.5 hours or something?
3.93 repeating. So
All
about
right.
4 hours. We had to wait for 4 hours of this show to get to our sweet, sweet J Money moment.
And it was worth it.
It was worth it, yeah. It was very much worth it, because now we will be calling him J Money for the remainder of the show and the podcast.
J Money.
J Money. So anyways, J Money writes a little note for Lola with a bunch of red M&Ms and one red Skittle because he couldn't find 1,000 red M&Ms. He just throws a red Skittle in there and he's like, she'll never know. And asks her, hey, do you want to go on a date with me this Saturday? And then the little like check yes or no thing.
Yes, definitely, or absolutely.
I rigged it.
Watch Gravity Falls, you guys. It's very good.
It's a very good show. So J Money leaves, and Max comes in, and he thinks that the note's for him. And he's like, oh, I get to hang out with J Money and get a bunch of red M&Ms? Sign me the fuck up.
I could hear you censoring yourself and making yourself say J Money in that moment, because he really does say Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but listen.
No, I know you're right. It's J Money.
We've said Jackson for 8 episodes now. Now is the time for J Money.
Yeah, we need to get our J Moneys in.
Exactly. Like, we've gotten so used to calling him Jackson on the podcast, and now it's gonna be like, we gotta switch back to our old style of thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 9 long weeks of not calling him J Money.
Yes. It feels like a giant weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I don't know about you guys, but like, definitely for me.
There was a hole in my heart, and that hole has been filled.
So, yeah, Max sees it. Max, eats all the M&Ms, checks the yes box, and, Jackson comes back and is like, oh, yeah, I got a date with Lola. That's gonna be so cool.
I like that Jackson leaves the note and the M&Ms in his room, comes back and it's checked, and he was like, I guess Lola snuck into my room, saw the note, and checked yes.
After eating all of the M&Ms, of course.
And the Skittle, don't forget the Skittle.
And the Skittle.
Yes. Similarly to why did Uncle Jesse send the flowers to this house, to the Fuller house? Like, why didn't you put the note and the M&Ms elsewhere?
Right.
Also, why didn't you address the note to Lola?
I feel like there are some holes in your plan, my man.
My man, J Money.
J Money.
You gotta work on the flirting game.
This all comes to head when Lola and Ramona are planning a Saturday trip to the mall to get makeovers. Yeah. Ooh.
We should get makeovers at some point.
The makeover episode of the Fullest House podcast?
Yes.
I'm down.
I mean, like, we need a beach episode. Do we also need a makeover episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need a beach episode, a makeover episode, a Halloween episode.
I mean, listen, I know I've worn makeup before, and I know Harrison has worn makeup before.
Oh yes. We both know that experience.
That was an experience.
Okay, so for some context, I was in an a cappella group in college, and we performed at a Pride drag show. So I got in drag, and then Zach, you have your.
I have my story where I'm a part of a video production club at my campus. Subscribe to NUTV on YouTube. We make good stuff. And we made a video one time that was filmed between the hours of like 2 and 4 in the morning, where it was guys and girls teaming up. And the guys did the girls' makeup, and the girls did the guys' makeup. So I got to learn how to do makeup by like just destroying some poor girl's face with makeup. I'm sorry.
Oh,
and then
that's rough.
she did makeup on me, and I looked fabulous.
I bet you were stunning.
The video is still up on YouTube, so look up the Great NUTV Make-Off and subscribe while you're there. We make good stuff.
Subscribe to iTunes Acapella.
I'm gonna plug my other endeavors.
I hate the both of you.
Well, Mark, the makeover episode was your idea. I'm just saying. We're the experienced ones here.
No, I hate both of you for the blatant shout-outs. And if I had something to shout out, I don't know. I write for I don't think we did an episode this year, but Views from NYU. It's a student-run late-night show from NYU. I'm a writer on it, so give it a watch. There. Are you happy?
Also, wait. One person is being left out. Shout out to Tyler, who was Brad in Rocky Horror. Fun times wearing heels. And I can agree.
Oh, so out of the four of us, Mark is the only one with no makeup experience.
Oh, I've worn like Halloween makeup. I've been a vampire. I've been a, like the Joker. I've worn Halloween makeup, but never like
actual makeup.
Makeup in the sense that you're saying. Zach, are you saying that all the performers in the theater, in Disney's The Lion King and such works, who go through hours of makeup to transform themselves, people in movies, movie makeup, just these actors that transform themselves into other people for our enjoyment, you're saying that's not real makeup?
No.
How dare you?
I got in real close to the mic to say that.
By the way, that audio is probably unusable. It's probably not, but it's gonna be real bad.
I just leaned into the mic for dramatic effect. I don't know how it sounded to you guys, but it was fun putting on makeup. I was later told that I looked like Nightman from that one episode of Always Sunny because I had blue eyeliner.
I rocked my friend's black dress and pink leather jacket.
Yeah, I didn't do drag, but I had makeup done. Back to the episode. So they're going to get makeovers. J Money comes in and is like, "Hey Lola, you can't go with Ramona. We have a date this Saturday."
I think it should be noted after Lola accepts. I did air quotes, but you guys couldn't see that. After Lola accepts his invitation, Jackson goes over all coy and talking real street.
Yes,
that's where J Money comes in.
That's when he finally name drops the J Money bomb.
He walks in and immediately addresses her as Boo. Hey, Boo.
Right. He goes, "Hey, Boo." And she goes, "Boo-hoo." And he goes, "Don't be sad, girl. J Money in the house." And we had to pause the episode in celebration. So we were like, yes, finally, our boy is he's finally embracing the sad.
And he keeps going.
He does keep going. And it's wonderful.
I guess approval from a girl makes him talk street. get a real gangsta affectation. And this continues until Max runs in and says, "I'm so excited to hang out on Saturday." And J Money goes, "J Money say what?" By the way, I think I damaged my throat doing some voices and other things throughout this episode because my voice super cracked on that, and my voice has not cracked in years.
We also were specifically bringing up the moment from Clone High, the "say what" moment from Clone High, which is such a good moment. While we're plugging different shows, watch Clone High.
What is this episode of our podcast?
I don't know.
It's just shameless promotion of other things.
You know what? I'm here for it. If I want this show to be about positivity.
There we go. I think we're doing this surprisingly late in the episode. I think it's time that we total up all of the sadness in this episode.
Oh, I was gonna say, why don't we just talk about how this plot resolves itself, where Ramona and Lola say, like, we're going to the mall with like 12 other friends, but you and Max can come too. And so J Money's like, "Hell yeah, I'm going on a date with Lola and 12 other friends.
I'll take it."
Well, specifically what happens is J Money actually asks her out, or asks if she wants to spend Saturday with him, and she says, "Sure." And Max objects, and she says, "Max can come too. Ramona and I and 12 of our friends are going to the mall, and you two can come along too." Which, by the way, that's 16 people. Ramona says a small group of friends. That's not a small group of friends.
That is not small at all.
And J Money says, "So I'm going to have to spend Saturday with Ramona, and Max, and 12 other people. And she says yes, and he says, and you're going to be there too? And she says yes, and he goes, sweet. And I think then we said another phrase that we have said, but I don't think it was ever this just genuine, this full force. But Zach, you and I said we love our sad boy.
We love our sad boy. Speaking of sad boys,
There we
it
go.
is time for thank you for the alley oop there, Mark. It really helped me out. But yeah, I really thought that we had to go through the entire episode before we did it sad boy of the week this time to really flesh out, because there are a lot of contenders this week for sad boy of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get started. So, I think there are two big contenders in my mind, and I'm pretty sure you both know who they are.
Well, I don't know. There are a lot of sad boys in this episode.
There are a lot of sad boys. I have two contenders in my heart, but who are your nominees, Zach?
All right. Well, the first one, and I feel like we gotta bring him up in every episode he's in, and that is our boy Fernando.
He was actually sad this episode.
He was very
yes, it
sad this
makes
episode,
sense.
and we were here for it.
His ruse, the lie that he lived.
the deception of taking credit.
And the fact that he just really commits to it, of like, yes,
Yeah.
I sent you the roses.
And how torn up he is about it, like when he admits to the lie.
Yes,
is also
yeah,
great.
when he admits
Very
to his
sad,
ruse.
Very genuine.
And then the other one, the other large contender I had in my head was our boy J Money.
J Money.
J Money.
J Money.
See, here's the thing. You said you thought we knew. I thought you were going to say J Money and Aunt Becky, who's very sad in this episode.
Oh yes, Aunt Becky's also that's also a fair point.
I was also gonna offer Stephanie as a minor nomination
I
because
was
of how
gonna say
she
Steph.
handled her husband situation. Air quotes.
I have another very minor nomination.
Yep.
And that's partially because
Yeah.
he has a 100% episode appearance to Sad Boy of the Week win rate. And I know it probably ends here because he was barely in this episode, but I feel like we got to bring up Steve. He has very limited screen time, but it's pretty
Yes.
Dr. Stephen
The
Hale.
fact that he implies that he always just points out random podiatry facts in conversation,
sad.
whether or not it's warranted, that's pretty sad.
sad. All right. Any final nominees from either of you guys? Because I think I'm done.
we said all my nominees.
Harrison, any objections?
I think I'm good.
All right, Mark, you wanna lay it down
Yeah,
for
I'll
us?
I'll run through. We have Fernando, who, when presented with the opportunity to take credit for a romantic gesture he did not do, just slides right in full force and keeps lying throughout the episode very blatantly until he breaks down in tears. We have J Money, who doesn't know how to ask his crush out and is scrambling because he's afraid that he's going to be in the friend zone. So he spends time counting out, I was going to say 1,000 red M&Ms, but technically it's 999 red M&Ms and 1 red Skittle. Writes a note, will you go out with me, yes or no, instead of just asking. And then once he thinks it's been accepted, immediately goes into a very cool guy, like talking all street and hip. It's always awkward to me when characters do that and things, and I wish they'd stop. Although I really do love it this episode, especially because it gave us the culminating moment of his character, J Money.
J Money.
J Money.
And then when she does accept, but it means that he's going to be hanging out with her in a group of 16 people, including his little brother, he's like, yep, we did it, guys.
Wait, Mark, before you move on to the next person, I have thought of one more last second surprise nomination, which I don't think is going to change anything. I would like to nominate Cosmo for being a hoarder.
Yes.
Sure, yes.
I'll sum that up next.
Nominate
Cosmo, who is a dog and also a hoarder.
There you go. You summed it up.
Yep. We have Aunt Becky, who is so unfulfilled by Uncle Jesse that she has to spend her time hanging around the Fuller house, getting in everybody's drama, playing with a baby all day that is not hers, just wishing for one moment that her life could be any different than it is now. And we have our boy Steve Hale, who once DJ says somebody gave her flowers, says, somebody gave you flowers? Because he's just pining after that DJ. Consistent character, gotta love him. and offers everybody unsolicited podiatry advice.
And then there is Aunt Stephanie.
There's Aunt Stephanie, who is dating multiple people at the same time without telling any of them. Thinks that she's gotten like, it was very weird to me when all the women in the house were like, I bet they're for me, because Stephanie was just like, I bet they're for me. I don't know from who. Everybody, Kimmy and DJ were both like, oh, I bet Fernando got them, or Steve, or Matt. And Steph just took it as a given that she'd get flowers, even though she's had the least of a love life in this show out of anybody. Even J Money.
Even J Money. That's a valid point. I also do want to mention one more thing. I don't know if we brought it up earlier, but when Harry's coming over, she buys a suit jacket, but she leaves the tag on.
Oh yes, that's right.
Because so she can return it because of her financial problems.
Yes.
So Steph, who's just a mess, dating a bunch of people at once, which, I mean, like, if that's what you do, fine, but it does seem like a problem with Steph. Needs to return her suit because she's having financial problems, so she can't take the tag off. And I don't think we've talked about it, but I do want to say that she repeatedly and unsolicited refers to Harry Takayama as her husband.
Throughout the episode.
Like
multiple times.
She just says out of nowhere when it first comes up, I bet they're from my husband. So she, well into her adulthood, just calls this guy she had a play ceremony with when she was 6 years old her husband.
I also do want to mention there's like a lot more sexual innuendo type jokes about her and Harry throughout the episode. Like there's one where she says, oh, and he was really good in bed. And Aunt Becky's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she says, oh, no, we used to jump back and forth between the beds together. It's not like a sex thing.
But Aunt Steph, you know what you said. So I think those are our cases.
Yes.
Yes.
I also do want to mention... Oh, wait, do we want to add in Ramona because of her One Direction pillow or no? Or is that not sad enough to be? Normally that'd be pretty sad, but I think in this episode the bar is so high that Ramona just misses it.
Ramona, who lies about having a One Direction poster.
Pillow.
Or lies about not having a One Direction pillow. Yeah, sorry.
So, let's get into the votes.
I know who my vote goes between.
Okay. I actually have to think about this.
I think I know who my vote is. So I'll go first.
You're first.
So I do want to start off by saying, wow, we have quite possibly the most solid cases in one episode.
It's a competitive race.
It's a very competitive race. The bar has been set so incredibly high.
Guys, this is the saddest episode yet.
Yeah, but I think...
so sad.
I think I personally, just because, like, it was really the peak of the sadness for this character, and we had one moment where we said we love our sad boy, which is how it all started. It came out naturally, and he finally got the nickname that he deserves. My vote is for J Money.
I think, because here's what I was gonna say. I think it's between, for me, J Money and Aunt Becky.
Yes.
Aunt Becky is sad in just the right way, where she is legitimately very sad, but she's not acknowledging it, which is always fun. But I was just so much more entertained by J Money. The fact that we got the name J Money, that it's self-applied, which we should say is pretty sad. Giving yourself the nickname J Money is exactly the kind of shit we look for.
Yes.
And the fact that he completely naturally, not us forcing it into it because we like saying the phrase, but just completely naturally made us say, we love our sad boy. I was a little worried that just it was like, Aunt Becky's really the sad boy of the week, but my heart's going to J Money.
Same.
But it's the thing is, this came about because there's a direct correlation between good character and sad boy.
Yes.
So it is from the heart. So I'm sorry if this screws up your vote, Harrison, but I think I'm also going to go J Money. That's what my heart says.
I was also going to go J Money for all the reasons you guys just said. For me, it was actually more of a debate of who gets the runner-up, Becky or Fernando.
Yeah.
And for me, I think the reason Becky wins out is because Fernando is clearly self-aware in a way that Becky is not. Like she recognizes she has a problem, but like Fernando is so guilty that you can make an argument like it's just a mistake. It's not like a true act of patheticness.
What Fernando is doing is pathetic, but it's not low status.
Do we have an entire sad boy podium for this episode? We have a first, second, and third place.
Yes.
This is a first for the show.
A sad boy podium.
A sad boy podium for the week.
First is J Money, second is Aunt Becky, third is Fernando.
He'll get his sad boy of the week nod. Look, all three of them will be back eventually on the sad boy of the week. I'm sure of it. It's gonna happen eventually. But J Money has won the day.
Is this his first time on the leaderboard?
Guys, it's official. Our bad boy has become a sad boy.
The apex sad boy.
If we didn't say it before, legitimately things that happen with J Money, the first of which being the nickname J Money, make him one of our favorite characters, maybe behind Fernando.
It's been really fun to watch J Money's evolution from bad boy to sad boy. And if you're interested in the evolution of our podcast, you can follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FullestHousePod. Harrison and Mark are laughing at me right now because they're amazed at how great that transition was. I'm back on my game this week.
That was good. No, I was legitimately impressed.
That was a good transition. Also want to say, tell your friends to listen to us, please. If you like our show, recommend us.
So, share with your friends. Share with all your Fuller House friends. Share with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your enemies. Share it to your long-lost siblings. Share it with Juan Pablo Di Pace, who will come on the podcast. Yeah, once again, make sure to like us on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FullestHousePod. Once again, I'm Zach Z Money Horowitz.
I'm Harrison H Money Bloom.
I'm Mark M Money Greene.
And until next time, may your houses be fuller, specifically with roses from John Stamos. Good night, everybody.